So, when you think of a Souls-like, what's the first game that comes to your mind? For me, a few have got to be maybe something ranging from Mortal Shell to Dead Cells, Blasphemous, Dimesia, stuff like that. Now, I don't really know what defines a Souls-like. Like a Souls-like, obviously, besides mechanics, gameplay-wise, maybe stuff like that, or just the theme. Now, Mortal Shell, yeah, like you don't really get to do a character customization, but there's different shells, hosts, people you play as. But the thing that makes it a Souls like is the mechanics, the parrying, the stuff, and just the way it looks. Also, I think the creators, said it's based off of Dark Souls, but this game, great, mechanics. It's a fun game, and I do recommend it. It's a really fun Souls like, and it does take skill. I would even say more so over an actual Souls game. And then there's everybody's favorite Souls-like or Metroidvania or even Souls-light or roguelike. There's the game Dead Cells. Dead Cells is really fun. Actually, it also does take a lot of skill. I also like how it's more of a dungeon-based game, and there's multiple different paths you can take. And like when you get defeated, you just come back as this little goopy guy, gets put back into a body of this guy got executed. Really fun game. It takes skill. You have to get to like a kingdom, and the weapons are randomized. You can kind of unlock like customizations for your character, but I can't think of the mascot's name, but the only correct one to play is the one where you get the pink head, because that's literally the main character of the game. For the lie, really do hope that Dead Cells gets a free sequel. I'm pretty sure there is ones in the work, or they said they will make one soon. But yeah, also Dead Cells is really like they're good buddies with the creators of Terraria. That's why Terraria's newest update will get a Dead Cells thing, and Dead Cells is also buddies with Hollow Knight. The Hollow Knight's weapon, the nail, you can find in this game, but this is another one of those Souls-like, road-likes, whatever, that takes skill. Not only does it take skill, but it takes a lot of time to put into it to play, and it's a really fun game. And obviously another one that I think of has got to be Blasphemous. Like, come on, Blasphemous is an amazing game. 2019 reminds me a lot of Dead Cells. Obviously, it's a side scroller just like Dead Cells, but just the game in general is like wow. There is a second one as well, but yeah, it's actually I would say Blasphemous. Like the bosses are quite easy, but like I don't know the controls. Like in the video I'm about to show you, this is my first time playing Blasphemous since I bought it during August, but it is one of my favorites. I watched it. It's one of those games I watched first then played. Like why watch a game when you can play it? But I probably will go through and replay it again. Obviously, maybe for a video too. But you might be wondering, why am I bringing up all these? But that would be a great question. I don't blame you. But the reason why I am is because when you think of a Souls-like or anything like that, roguelike, yada yada, you think of like something along the lines of knights, samurais, like even horror or like swords and like stuff like that. It really depends. But it's all around the central theme. Now take Mortal Shell. Boom. That game, knights, swords. What else? Like out of body stuff. Then you look at like Blasphemous. It's about like Roman Catholicism and stuff like that. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, but around that time, so like pilgrimage and plagues and swords and holy knights and stuff. You take Dead Cells. That's just a cluster of things. Like there's swords, skin customization. You're literally just I can't remember the lore, but you're taking over the body of a previously executed person. You're just this little goopy thing that's taking over a body. So when you think of a Souls like you think of things such as that, like gory and with a big story and like not really kid friendly. But that's where all this is leading to a point for today's video, actually. So you probably could have seen where this was going, judging if you watched my video from the other day. But yes, my point of leading up from all this gore and other stuff was leading to this, well, virtually, if you look at it, it looks like it's a kid's game. The game is known as Another Crab's Adventure, or what everyone's just calling it is Crab Souls. Now, originally, I will be completely honest, I saw this game on Xbox Game Pass, and then I was like, okay, it's another one of those little kids games that probably ended up on Game Pass. But then I saw Distortion, Little Eggy, I don't think Zero Lenny, but I just saw a bunch of people uploading it, and I was like, wait, what's Crab Souls? So then I asked a friend about it, and wow, I was really wrong. Now, for this being a game from an indie studio known as I think Aggro Crabs it was, its performance, the way it just looks, everything about it, it's just such a stunning game. And it's a very big takeaway from a typical Souls like. When you think of a Souls like I said, that's what I was leading to this point. You think of Mortal Shell, Thymesia, Blasphemous, Dead Cells, maybe even Have a Nice Death, stuff like that. You just think of stuff with a crazy story, crazy characters, and a lot of murder and stuff like that. Which, yes, this game does obviously feature violence, like forks, being able to shoot bubbles out of your back if you have a can of soda on you, teacup barbarian roar, or if you're just, not the best at the game, a Glock 19. Actually, that's not a Glock, it's a 1911. Very disappointed in myself for saying that, but that is besides the point. The point is that this game is just amazing. As someone who has 100%ed many Souls games, is on the road to 100% many Souls games, this is just one of those games where I'm like, wow, I have 100%ed Dark Souls 1, platinumed it, Elden Ring, working on Bloodborne, one away for Dark Souls 3, and I'm not the biggest fan of Dark Souls 2, but I'm quite diverse in there. I've made it pretty far in Mortal Shell on Steam. I've beat Dead Cells, I've beat Hollow Knight, so for me to play all those and then play this game that's relatively received, I would say for kids, it's just like, wow, it really is an amazing game. And I'm not even that far into it, but I'm still saying that I think this would be a worthy contender to at least be Game of the Year, maybe make it to Game Awards, because I don't know if this game was hyped up. I just saw it come out of the blue. So if people have been hyping this game up, I'm really sad I was missing out. Also, you know, there's just little quips to the game, like the fact that there's a Mr. Krabs skin and it's called Mr. Krill, and it's funny because or the achievement you fell off, which is to die to fall damage, but so it's poking at things that are more nowadays and stuff. There's also just a bunch of other skins. The first skin I got was a cowboy. That's like Arthur Morgan type stuff. So another thing I want to get into is when you think about it, kids shouldn't really play Souls games. Or I can think of the way that I have a 9-year-old cousin. He loves the games, but he just struggles really hard with them. He's beaten Dark Souls 3, but honestly, depending on what route you take in that game, it's not too bad. But he loves the FromSoft series. He tried playing Elden Ring, but he's actually very scared of a few of the bosses just because of the signs. Like, think of the Covetous demon. It's just a big slug that eats you in Dark Souls 2. He actually really disliked Aldrich, and I don't blame him for that. And the screaming enemies all throughout Dark Souls 3 and the drop attack, stuff like that, I don't blame him. He's 9, he's little, and the games are a little difficult. But with this game, it's more of a tackle on more kid friendly. Like, you just you obviously you kill things, but it's just crabs. It's crabs and fish. I'm not saying that that's any less gory, but when you defeat them, they don't turn to mush and ragdoll. They just fade away. They get all black and ashy and they fade away. And the thing is, in the other games, for Dark Souls 1 for example, if you are that bad, you either can get good or you can soul dupe. Elden Ring, if you struggle at Elden Ring, I don't want to tell you because that's the easiest soul game. Dark Souls 3 really depends on the route you take, but that game shouldn't be hard. Dark Souls 2, I don't even want to get into Dark Souls 2, but in this game, if you struggle, you literally can give yourself a gun that just about one taps. I was experimenting with it. It 2-tapped one of the bosses I was on. It was this crab that came out of the ground. It was the most recent boss I'm on right after I started treasure hunting. So let's say you're a little kid playing this game and you're struggling. You just go to settings and boom, you just activate the handgun, and there's nothing to lock you off from this game. And if you're going the wrong way, at least this happened to me, I was going the wrong way when I was leading up to the boss to start a treasure hunt. I got teleported somewhere. I don't know if I was supposed to do that. My takeaway is that this game's amazing. There's multiple different skins, multiple different shells, which is awesome. There's teacups, sriracha lids, bottle caps, rubber ducks, banana peels, cans, and there's just awesome skins. If you have not checked this game out as a very high active Souls player with numerous days in the game, I recommend checking it out. This has got to be one of the best Souls likes I ever played. It does have a few rough patches sometimes when I break bottles in this game, or I jump, my game will just frames will drop. But you have to remember, this game just came out, and I'd like to see what happens with it over time. Hopefully a DLC, hopefully a second one. Like, this game is just amazing, and I do want to do a playthrough to the channel, which, you know, a lot of my videos aren't really targeted or focused on anything. It's just funny little clips I get. But for me, wanting to play a game that's not even the stuff I typically upload must, you know, really be that good. But my key takeaway is from this video that this is a 10 out of 10 game, but I don't know what you're doing still watching this video. You should be downloading this game. If you haven't already, subscribe if you want. I do challenge runs and I do shit posts, but yeah, go play Another Crab's Treasure, otherwise known as Crab Souls. Watch some videos on it. Yeah,